Tonight's vice presidential debate will be divided into 9 topics, with COVID-19 expected to be a top issue after President Trump was diagnosed with the virus last week, and as a brand new poll shows that nearly 2/3 of Americans say the president acted irresponsibly in handling the risk involved with COVID-19. Let's bring in Trump 2020 senior advisor Mercedes Schlapp. She joins us now. Mercedes, good morning to you and welcome. Knowing that COVID will be one of the key issues on the debate stage tonight, so many are wondering how the messaging might change coming from the White House, coming from the campaign, Mercedes, following the president's diagnosis. A member of your campaign, Aaron Prinny, was here at the beginning of the week suggesting that now, with the president having firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience having COVID, he is now better suited to take on Kamala Harris and Joe Biden on this issue. Is that the case? What's the messaging?
Well, I think it's important to understand the president lost one of his friends early on to COVID. It's obviously impacted all of our lives. I was just sharing a story with a friend of mine where my daughter told me, my 13-year-old, she looked at me, she said, "Mom, COVID is taking away my childhood." I mean, the mental stress and anxiety on our children, on this next generation, is very alarming. And so the president now obviously going through being impacted by this virus, can talk firsthand about what he went through, being empathetic to those who are fighting this virus. And at the end of the day, I think that the president will continue to share that strong message of we can't let this dominate us. We can't give up. We cannot surrender like Joe Biden is saying. We have to stay strong, defeat this virus together. We are a resilient nation. We need to ensure that not only those being impacted by COVID get the help they need immediately. As we know, the president's working day in and day out to get the therapeutics approved, get this vaccine developed quickly and safely. And only the president, in the way he does the work, where he produces results, and you're basically working with the federal government and the private sector to get the help needed for those impacted by COVID.
So a lot of that sounds very similar to the messaging that we heard prior to the president's diagnosis. The added sentiment I heard there was that he may show more empathy towards people who have it or people who have lost loved ones due to it. But I just read you off that poll where a majority of respondents said that they believe the president has acted irresponsibly on handling COVID-19, specifically when it comes to his infection. Here's another piece of that. This is also a CNN poll. On how his diagnosis will change the way he handles this pandemic going forward. 63% believe that it will not change the way he handles it. So what can you tell us this morning, well, here on the debate stage, that does defend that does show that the president is changing course or strategy now that he's been diagnosed with it?
The president is not changing course. The president is focused on solving this very difficult global pandemic that's impacting all of our lives. And so the president has been razor focused, as has Vice President Mike Pence, as he's led our coronavirus task force in solving this very immense
Mercedes,
problem.
Don't you fear that won't address concerns? You're telling me there's no changing course. These polls are showing people are concerned, obviously, about the irresponsible nature, as the poll put out, about how he's handled it. So you don't see the need, the campaign doesn't see the need to change course on the messaging?
We are all concerned. Listen, we are all concerned about this global pandemic that's impacted all of us. I mean, I just shared with you what my children are going to, where so many children and parents are dealing with the day in and day out stress of COVID by keeping our schools
I'll speak to you as a parent, though, Mercedes. I'm a parent as well, and we all see the need to buckle down and do what's right so we don't have to have another shutdown, so we don't have to have our kids not go to school.
Right, and we can do it in a way that's safely and responsible.
Is still, fingers are still being pointed at that Rose Garden event where so many people have now contracted the virus. We don't know for sure if it was from that, but we do know that people weren't properly social distanced and many were not wearing masks there.
Well, as we've said here at the campaign in the White House, in encouraging mask wearing, the president has also said that it's patriotic to wear a mask. I think the president, look, at the end of the day, we're getting closer to a vaccine. At the end of the day, hospitalizations are down. At the end of the day, fatalities are down. The president took bold actions from day one by basically ensuring that we would stop travel to China, something that Joe Biden didn't agree with.
Okay.
If it would have been Joe Biden being president, more people would have died on his watch. He failed. Joe Biden failed on the swine flu pandemic. He ended up depleting the strategic national stockpile from the N95 respiratory mask. And so we know that Joe Biden is not equipped to handle coronavirus. He has no plan. He only attacks the president. This president is committed to the health of the American people, will continue to work hard to push Operation Warp Speed, and continues to provide support to state and local governments.
I appreciate you coming on this morning. We'll let the rest get hashed out on that debate stage tonight. Mercedes, always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So